I'm sorry.
Ouch. Oh, you really got me. In this video, we're going to take you through 3 tips on how to elevate your watch photography without buying anything. These are super simple, highly effective tips.
Wow, we sound like real pros.
I am pro.
Hi, I'm Lydia Winters.
And I'm Vu Bowie.
And we're Winters and Bowie. And this is our first episode.
It is our first episode.
Thanks for being here.
On our channel, we plan on covering watches and photography and watch photography, everything from beginner to pro level. This video is very beginner, but we have lots in store.
We hope there's a little something for everyone in each video, and we're just so excited to have you all here.
At the end of this video, we're going to show you a sneak peek at our next 2 episodes.
But right now, it's time for wrist check. I'm wearing my BB58 silver.
And I am wearing the Rolex Oyster Perpetual 41 in green.
And now we could really get into the episode and do some photography tips. Tip number 1 is if you want to elevate your watch photography, elevate your watch. This is something I do in almost every single shot because I just love the added depth, getting the watch off of the background and really just thinking about what's the best way that I can highlight the watch. For this shoot, I was in our living room because I love the large windows giving amazing light. And also I decided to use my Seiko 5 Rowing Blazers collaboration because I thought it would be really perfect for my idea. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll probably know that I love instant film. And so I use Polaroid cameras, Instax cameras a lot in my shots. And my idea for this one was that the NATO strap would kind of be coming out of the camera like film. In this first image, I took the watch and I put it directly on the tabletop. And for me, even though it's a perfectly fine shot, I feel like it doesn't give enough differentiation between the watch and the table because really everything is in focus. So a little bit of the camera is out of focus, but overall it's an okay shot, but I don't feel like it has the emphasis being on the watch. To elevate the watch, I use something that most of you should have at home, a bottle cap. Try not to use one with a bright or, very distinct color as it might actually change the background, but I just used a gray one in order to prop up the watch, and I think immediately it just gives a very different look to the image. Elevating the watch immediately moves your focal plane, and suddenly the watch becomes, I think, more the center of attention, which I really want it to be. But I thought if it was nice with 1 bottle cap, why not try 2? And I found this to be what I found most aesthetically pleasing, is just getting the watch really up, helping highlight the awesome rainbow on the rainbow Polaroid camera, kind of almost going into it, and then also seeing the swirl of the NATO strap. So for me, this is my ideal placement, but now you could do flat, you could do 1 bottle cap, 2 bottle caps. I wouldn't go for 3 because that's just probably gonna result in your watch falling over.
The Tower of Sprite Zero bottle caps.
You can use many different things to prop up your watches. I've actually used cherries, a pine cone. I also have a little collection of champagne corks, work really well. Might want to cover it with something because sometimes you can see the orange bleeding out on people's photos. Be careful with that. Bottle caps. And then also, Vu has made us this amazing watch holder, which
made 2.
Is actually what I use every day. I stole this one from you.
Actually, I can show. Here is how that works.
And how did you make this?
It's just cardboard and gaffer tape. Highly recommend.
So this is a low-cost solution.
It's a very low-cost solution.
These ones might be free depending on what you have. Pine cones are free.
Tip number 2 is to use reflectors.
This is something I didn't do until I started my watch photography. Vu got me into it, and now it is something I do in almost every shot. The light's coming in from the window, which is great light, but because it's coming onto one side, it's really making it so one side of the photograph is very lit up and the other side is very dark. A reflector can really help with that. All you need to do is find something white in your house that you can use to reflect the light, get the name reflector, and put it into your image. So as you can see here, I moved it over and suddenly the whole shot really changed. Not only was there a lot of light to really outline the case shape of the watch, but also the camera became so much better lit.
And if one reflector is good, why not 3? In this shot, I kept it really basic with just a nice dark background behind my Speedmaster Professional. And you can see right here that even with just a single light source, the shot looks okay. I mean, it's very low key. You don't really see the bottom of the watch. It really fades out into darkness. So just bringing in this box as a reflector, and suddenly you can light up that bracelet. And even with a little bit of light on the bracelet, you already have a lot more going on in this shot. But if you move that box closer, you can light up the whole bottom of the case. And now you can see that the top and the bottom of the case have a lot of light on them. You can see all of that steel, and there's a little bit of flecto, both top and bottom. But if you really want to bring the whole case out so that you can see everything, you bring in reflectors on the side. For these 2 boxes, I used really short ones so they would not reflect in the crystal. And all they do is bring out the entire case so that you can see it in all its glory. And it really pops off of that very dark background. Tip number 3, expose for the highlights. This is something that really experienced photographers know. As you're choosing your exposure, you get a certain amount of light. I'm not going to go into histograms today, but the histogram really can help you expose for the highlights. And what that means is that never let the brightest points inside your photo be so bright that there's no information there. One of the easiest ways to check for that is most cameras' default setting when you go to play the photo will actually have little flashing lights showing what there's no information there. The reason you want your highlights to stay within exposure is because parts of the photo that are completely white are actually not as attractive as parts of the photo being completely black. So you can lift up shadows, but even if you've lost information, it's more aesthetically pleasing to have black areas of your photo. So you always want to make sure that the brightest areas in your scene are still properly exposed. That little box on the top right there is the histogram. I recommend going and learning how to use a histogram, but on the right are the bright things, on the left are the dark things. So you want to make sure that nothing is touching the right side of that histogram, because that will mean it's blown out. Blown out, blown out. For more details on histograms, we'll do maybe an entire video on histograms.
Oh, I can hardly wait for that one.
She might not be part of it.
An easy thing you can do is underexpose by 1 stop, which is something that I do all the time. I keep it as a default, and that just helps me not blow out the highlights and also not have to look at a histogram.
Histograms are great. But even if you're photographing on a phone, you can just click and drag down that exposure just a little bit. Make sure nothing is pure white in your photo.
Well, that wraps up our 3 tips for today. Number 1, elevate your watch. Number 2, use a reflector or reflectors. And number 3, make sure to expose for the highlights. Every Wednesday, we're going to release a new video. And next week, we're going to be talking about regret and rebuying with Vu and his Explorer 2. And the week after, we're going to be visiting Diamond Beach in beautiful Iceland, where I'm going to share photographing watches on ice, something I never thought I would do, and it was amazing.
Thank you everybody for watching. If you enjoyed this video, or even just a little bit, go ahead and click like, and please subscribe to the channel if you'd like more of them. If you have suggestions for what you want to see on our channel, just leave them down there in the comments.
Histogram.
More histograms.
If you use any of our tips, make sure to hashtag Winters and Bowie on Instagram, and we will be very excited to see what you've been making. We're done, right?
That's it. First video done.
Whew. The first is the worst.
Bye.
Oh no.
The first is the worst. What is wrong with you?